Throughout my life, I've always been that person people came to for advice, and it suits me well because I love helping people. My name is Jeff, and I've been living in Vancouver and working in the music industry for the past 10 years. The music industry can be a fast-paced and exciting lifestyle, and I've had the opportunity to work for record companies, concert promoters, and artist managers. During the past 10 years, I've shared success, and I've celebrated the fame of others that I've worked with. I've met some famous people, but more importantly, I've made a lot of friends. But that lifestyle isn't always fun and games. During the past 10 years, I've also experienced a lot of challenges and struggles with work, with others, and with myself. My whole life, people would come to me for help, so I thought to myself, I should be able to help myself. And that's what I tried doing with self-help books, magazines, and later with counseling and coaching, and even medication at one point. When I wanted to avoid my struggles, I'd indulge and find distraction in things. And that's easy to do in the music industry, especially with the nightlife scene attached to it. According to other people's partying standards, I was probably a goody two-shoes. And at no point was I close to hitting rock bottom with any of my vices, and for the most part I was relatively happy, but I wasn't content. Sometimes I even fell into depression and felt alone despite knowing a lot of people. At times I was finding myself trying to make sense out of my struggles, and I always had this nagging feeling that something was missing in my life. I realize now the help I needed wasn't self-help, but it was God's help, and the thing that was missing in my life was a relationship with God. My life was like a roller coaster ride when I reconnected with an old friend of mine from Winnipeg, here in Vancouver. I'll never forget, it was a rare snowy night when I met up for dinner with my friend Chris. I hadn't seen Chris for months, and I reached out to him initially to pitch a business that I was developing on the side to help ends meet. But that night when we had dinner, I decided to not talk about business and actually just catch up. That was way more important to me. So we caught up and we talked, and the conversation went to a conversation about life. And that's when I brought up I felt like something was missing, and I realized it could be a higher belief. And actually that's when Chris mentioned to me that he was going to church, which totally surprised me because at the time I had no idea he was going to church. A couple of weeks would pass, and I got a text message from Chris one day asking me to come with him to church. And the next morning, he came all the way from East Vancouver to pick me up downtown, only to drive all the way back to East Vancouver to go to the Greater Vancouver Baptist Church. I remember that morning when I got to the church, I was feeling hesitant and skeptical, but the people that greeted me were friendly and kind. As the choir was coming out, I could feel myself tensing up again and closing up. And at that point, I just told myself, Jeff, relax. Just open your heart and your mind. These are really good people. And that's what I did. I remember when the service started, Pastor Connor came out and he started preaching, and he did it with great conviction. He was enthusiastic, and there was a lot of knowledge there. When the service was done, I felt a real connection, and I can honestly say it was something I'd never experienced before. Since that day, my devotion to God has grown, and I've accepted Jesus as my Savior. I can honestly say I've never been so committed to anything like this before, and my perspective on life has changed. I feel like God's gifts are more abundant, maybe not because He's given me more, but because I'm more aware of His daily blessings, including His blessings through the daily challenges. I'm grateful and I'm content, and I realize now that God has always been with me. It feels like a huge weight has been taken off my shoulders. My life is forever changed because of Jesus. I'm born again.